So your kid finally stays dry all day and you're wondering why you're still changing bed sheets at 2 a.m. Let's talk about nighttime potty training. If you're new here, my name is Missy Yandow. I'm the owner of Slumber and Bloom. I'm a dual certified potty training coach and sleep training consultant. If you love this video, don't worry about taking notes. I will link in the description box down below a guide to naps and nighttime potty training. But in this video, we are specifically talking about overnight only. That does not include naps. Yes, they are two different things. The very first thing that we're going to talk about is an obvious one, and that is to wait until your child is ready. As I previously said, nap training and night training are two completely different things. That means daytime potty training and overnight potty training are vastly different. They are going to happen at different times in your child's potty training journey. Before your child is physically, developmentally ready for nighttime potty training, I want you to use something like Goodnight's underwear, which is basically pull-ups, but they have a different design and a different name. Regardless of what you decide to use as your child's nighttime underwear, it needs to be different than whatever you have used up until this point. You need to frame it to your child as their nighttime underwear because it's a mental game a little bit where your child is going to understand the difference between what they're wearing during the day or not wearing during the day, depending on what part of the process you are in. And if your child is still having daytime accidents, then you need to grab Potty Party the course and just start over from the very beginning. I'll leave that in the description box down below as well as in the comment section. Also, in the meantime, you need to be using nighttime underwear that is going to be completely different than anything else you've used during your potty training process. There needs to be a very specific difference between diapers, pull-ups, and nighttime underwear, whatever you were using before. I'm going to drill this into your brain. You have to use something different now. A few things that I advocate for when trying to help your child along the process of being able to developmentally appropriately hold their urine all night long is to use the reverse triangle method of fluid intake. Sounds like a mouthful, but that's just the way I say it. If you think of a regular triangle with the point at the top and the long at the bottom, we're gonna flip it around so that the long is at the top and the point is at the bottom, which means that at the top is where your child is going to be taking in the most amount of fluid during the morning time. Now I'm going to frame this as a child who is not napping anymore. However, if your child is napping, you're just going to repeat the triangle twice. And yes, this is all laid out in a beautiful graphic in the guide that I mentioned before. So you will have it all drawn out for you nice and pretty. So at the very beginning of the morning or beginning of the day when your child is having breakfast, you want to give them the most amount of fluid that they are going to drink all day. As the day goes on, I am not telling you to completely cut your child off from beverages, but you want to give them a little bit less. So for example's sake, let's say your child is having 8 ounces of milk with breakfast, 4 ounces of milk or water with lunch, and then another 2 to 4 ounces with dinner, and then you want to give them sips only. Again, I am not saying to completely cut them off, but we don't need to be giving our kid 8 to 12 ounces of anything after dinner time. If you're wondering if your child is dehydrated, then they need to be drinking more water during those earlier hours of the day. And obviously, you will know if your child is hydrated enough based on the color of their urine. We are not completely cutting them off, but we are limiting their fluids. If this continues to be a problem where your child is drinking too much in the evening and you need to reverse that, then maybe you do need to cut them off a full 2 hours before bed. You don't need to take that drastic of a measure unless it's an issue. Now, when you do jump into actual overnight potty training, my #1 tip is going to be to double layer your child's bed sheets. So it's going to look like this: mattress protector sheet, puppy pad. Yes, I'm calling them puppy pads. You can get disposable or reusable. Either way, I would make sure that they have some sort of adhesive or non-slip grip to them, because if you have a child who moves around a lot in their sleep, then it's going to just bunch up and end up at the foot of the bed or just off the bed completely. So you want to make sure that you have something to make it stay in place, but you do want to have it over their bed sheets. This way, if your child has an accident in the middle of the night, and when I say if, I mean when, because they will have accidents. This is going to be a process, just like daytime potty training was, and you went into it expecting accidents, go into the overnights expecting accidents. So be prepared by having the bed already layered up with some extra sheets so that all you have to do is strip it, put them back in bed. Same goes for their pajamas. I want you to have a spare pair already laid out and ready with a spare pair of pajamas and a spare set of overnight underpants, or whatever you're going to call them with your child, but just have them ready so that if it is 2 a.m. and you are changing sheets, then you already know that everything is set up and ready to go for you. The next thing that I want you to do is set up a potty corner in your child's room. I've seen those super aesthetic, pretty little tents that people decorate with in their children's rooms. If you have one of those, I highly recommend put one of the puppy pads down inside of it and then put a potty seat on top of it so that they have their own little private corner in their bedroom, so that if they need to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, they can just get up and go and use that potty. Now, of course, if they're in a toddler bed, this is going to be made so much easier so that they can eventually do this independently on their own without waking you up. But if they are in a crib, you can tell them it's okay to call me in the middle of the night. I'll hear you on the monitor, or if you don't need a monitor and you can just hear them because the rooms are close enough together, tell them to call you, say, "Mommy, gotta go potty," and you will get them, bring them to the potty in their bedroom. The more you can keep it in their bedroom, the more your child is not going to make it a game, because some kids will use it as a tool to procrastinate bedtime and to stay up in the middle of the night or to be brought into your bed. We don't want those new habits to start surfacing, so we want to try and keep it as calm, as dim and dark as possible. Which brings me to the next point. If you are having a potty corner in your child's room, you may need a very dim nightlight. If you can, find a red light nightlight so it doesn't stimulate your child's brain and doesn't dampen the production of melatonin. So naturally, around 4 a.m., your child's melatonin production is going to plummet / stop. As soon as their brain sees daylight, whether it's artificial light or natural sunlight, then they are going to be in go mode. So avoid this by having a red light nightlight if you can. If you can't, then only turn on the very, very dimmest light possible that you will need to help your child go to the bathroom. And then continue to put them back in bed immediately with very minimal interaction so that you're not stimulating your child and getting them all riled up. Another thing that I am going to say don't do is the dream pee. I am very anti-dream pee. Because I'm a sleep consultant and a potty training consultant, this is where my worlds collide, and I'm very passionate about keeping your child's sleep quality high while overnight potty training, because they go hand in hand. If your child is sleeping properly through the night independently in their own bed or crib, then they are more likely to actually have the developmental ability to go overnight without needing to pee sooner rather than later. The more your child is awake during the night, the more their body is awake during the night, the more they are producing urine. I advise not to do a dream pee because we don't want your child fully waking up, because face it, if you're getting your child up and out of bed, sitting them on a cold toilet, making them pee when they were previously sleeping, 9 times out of 10 it backfires. Now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't work for some people, because it does work for some people. However, it's not something that I'm advocating for, and it's definitely not something that I advocate for when nighttime potty training. The only time this might be okay is if you have an older child, like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, who's still wetting the bed, which it can be developmentally normal up until 9 years old. So if you are actively trying to help your child hold their urine overnight, and your pediatrician recommends a dream pee, or they're seeing a PT or an OT or anyone who's recommending that you do this, then go ahead and try. But unless it's a problem we're not dream peeing. Another thing I wanted to talk about was celebrating successes. Just as you celebrated successes with daytime potty training, we are also going to celebrate successes with nighttime potty training. Use the same reward system that you used during daytime potty training. I always recommend a sticker chart and having to earn a certain number of stickers before getting a physical prize. So if that's something that you did with daytime potty training, then continue with that process overnight. Maybe your child needs to earn 3 stickers for staying dry overnight for 3 nights. Doesn't have to be chronological dryness for 3 nights in a row, just 3 nights, 3 stickers on their chart, and then they get a prize. Then you want to up the ante. Maybe you jump to 4 or 5 stickers before they earn a prize so that you can gradually phase out of rewarding them for staying dry overnight. But it is important to celebrate the success while teaching your child a new skill. Now, once again, I have all of this in a guide all about how to nap time and nighttime potty train. I will leave it in the description box down below, as well as pinned in the comment section. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a ton. For more potty training tips and advice, check out this video right here, and keep blooming. Mwah!